So the rain's just started again as I've set the camera up. Top drawer. Welcome back to the channel, guys. As always, it is wonderful to see you all again. Cheers for tuning in, and I'll tell you what, we have had some weather conditions this morning in the lakes. Just on the drive here, honestly, we've had hailstones, rain, sun, high winds, we've had rainbows, snow, probably loads more weather conditions that I can't even think of. Madness, but as you guys know, awesome for landscape photography, so I'm super excited for the day's adventure. Now I'm coming out today really to prepare for some one-to-one workshops that I've got coming up within the next few months here in the lakes, and I've chosen this location for many reasons. I think it's going to be really suitable, and I'll get into that a little bit more in this video. But as always, I would love for you guys to join me on this adventure. Oh my goodness, so as it so often is with landscape photography, whoa, it's been a little bit of a rush, to be honest. Now, during the introduction, you saw me down at that beautiful tarn, which was actually on the left-hand side of your frame amongst all them trees there. But I came through past the tarn and I came out on the opposite side from where I came in, and I stumbled across this beautiful scene of Scots pine trees here, which was completely unexpected, but of course completely welcomed. I love a Scots pine. So I was down here, we can see that path there on your right-hand side, and I immediately kind of figured out, right, if I want to get a shot here, I want to be looking back towards them fells, and I need a vantage point, a little bit of elevation, and that's precisely what we found here. Absolute top draw. So this little bit of elevation, like I said, is allowing us to look back amongst all them beautiful snow-covered fells there, but get some of these Scots pines in the foreground to create some fantastic interest. Now, compositionally, you can see this one here, I really didn't want him in the frame. I'm shooting with the 16 to 35mm lens, and I'm shooting at 16mm, so pretty wide. So I've kind of angled the camera a little bit more towards the right-hand side, as to not include that in the frame at all. It was just a distraction. So you can see this one sort of main Scots pine tree almost here that's arching from right to left. Absolutely gorgeous. I've got him positioned on the left-hand third of my frame, and I've tried to position him in a way that he's in between where the two fells sort of cross over. In the background you can see there, it's kind of like a V shape. I think that's working really well for this composition. Then on the right hand side of the frame, you know, that's kind of filled with a few more Scots pine trees and various trees there as well, which is just adding so much foreground interest. And like I say, beautiful fells in the background, a little bit of low cloud, tons of atmosphere, and of course with all that snow, absolute top draw. So settings were quite important, because when I was taking the images, I've already taken them, about 15 minutes ago we were getting a little bit of a snow flurry, and I was actually trying to capture, oh, the wind's coming in now, I was trying to capture some of that snow in the frame. So I was really messing about with my shutter speed. It was ranging from about 1/15th of a second right up to 1/125th of a second. So hopefully one of them photographs have come out all right. It was quite difficult to shoot because the lens was getting blasted with snow, but we shall see. I'll pop one of them up for you guys to see now. Hopefully one's come out all right. And then before I go back to the tarn, I think I'm going to explore around these hills a little bit more, see if I can get a better perspective of these Scots pines here facing back towards the fells. Yeah, just generally see what I can find. Alright, so before I do too much exploring, I wanted to stop for a little bit of a chat. Now, you guys that have followed me since, well, Germany at least, since I come back to the UK, you'll probably remember, or maybe not, because nobody's mentioned it, which is probably a good thing, but you may remember that I had a sponsorship. Now, that ended, the sponsorship didn't last, and for no other reason than that nobody bought the product. So obviously the company said, Henry, like, we can't pursue this, there's no point. I'm wasting, you know, your time, I'm wasting my own time and the company's time and money, so it was pointless. But on the day it happened, I was absolutely gutted. Like, I didn't really talk about it much for that reason, but I was really gutted because it was that sponsorship opportunity that really gave me the like a kick up the backside to want to do landscape photography and create these videos full time. And because it didn't work out, I could only just scrape enough money together for my rent anyway. With the sponsorship, I kind of thought, I was down in the dumps for a couple of the days. It was horrible. A day or two later, I kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to fight back against this, and I'm going to do workshops, one-to-one workshops, and just see how they get on. You know, test the waters. I feel ready. I felt a little bit nervous, but I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I spent a whole day just creating my website, creating the page on my website for my one-to-one workshops, and put them on sale. Let's see how they go. Fortunately, like I said at the start of the video, 2020 is going steady. You know, it's going good. I don't want to get ahead of myself, and that's all thanks to you guys. And today, like I said, is just one of them days where I want to come out and try and prepare the best that I can by finding some locations that I think are really suitable for these one-to-ones. And I've been doing a lot as well behind the scenes and not filming it, and I think I've found some cracking locations. So if you are interested in booking me for a one-to-one, I've still got plenty of dates available throughout 2020, so of course just get in touch. But yeah, this is looking like it'd definitely be a cracking location. I've quickly come to realise that a lot of my clients don't want to go on massive adventures, huge hikes, you know, which makes a lot of sense. So I think then it's down to me to try and find places like this where it's not too much effort to get here, but you get a real bang for your buck with regards to photographical opportunities, and this is absolute top drawer. So like I say, before I go back down to that tarn, I'm going to search around here a little bit more and see if I can make use of these beautiful Scots pine trees. So it's all gone a little bit grim, to be honest. There's not as much atmosphere as there was before, and it's just cold, windy and sleety. So probably sound a bit moany there, but anyway, on top of that, the batteries for my microphone have died, so I'm using my phone, and I do hope that you can hear me okay. I'm sure we'll find out. Bit of stupidity on my part. Anyway, I'd pretty much given up on this area where we had all these Scots pines, and I was headed back down to the tarn, but then I kind of stumbled upon this scene, and actually these are the trees that I photographed in the last shot, but the ones that were on the right hand side of the frame. And they just kind of, as I came over the brow of the hill, they were just sat perfectly in that V shape in them fells in the background again, and I just really liked it. Initially I set my camera up in a landscape orientation, and I didn't like it, purely just for the fact it was catching some of these trees on the right and some on the left, and they just didn't need to be in the frame. They weren't adding anything. In fact, they were making it look a lot more cluttered. So I just turned it around to portrait dimension, and I think it fits perfectly because it's getting a lot of these sort of dead ferns in here, which is adding a little bit of I don't know, like a colour contrast. That's something they always say, this nice sort of orange, this burnt orange colour, which is going to be in the foreground. And then the footpath here is going to be a nice natural leading line into the Scots pine trees, which are just grouped together really nicely, and I think it really fits a portrait orientation as well. Then of course in the background there, like I said, we've got that gorgeous V shape of the fells. There's actually a fair bit of atmosphere, to be honest. Perhaps I was being a little bit harsh as my toes are a bit cold. But yeah, it's quite nice, and of course we've still got the snow, which is fantastic. If I remember rightly, 1/10 of a second, f11, ISO 100, simple settings just to make sure I get the exposure correct. And yeah, another nice shot, trying to use these Scots pine trees. It's another scene that's made me think this is a quality location for workshops, and I'm definitely going to get back down to that tarn now because there's a bit of shelter amongst the trees. So I'm back down at the tarn now, and like I mentioned a couple of times, I think this is where I started the video, and I have actually there's a kind of faint loop track, if you will, around the whole tarn itself. It's only really small, and I think there's definitely a lot of photographic opportunity here, but I think this side is probably going to be the best. The conditions probably aren't right at the minute, but it looks like if it's still, we'd get some gorgeous reflections of that sort of hill or peak you can see off in the background there. And of course, at times like this, you know, when you've got all that snow on it, it just adds so much to the photograph as well. Like I say, at the minute, because there's quite a lot of wind, even though we're sheltered amongst these trees, I don't think that's going to quite work, and I don't think I'm going to take a photograph there because it's a little bit pointless, and it's an easy place to get to. I can always come back once the condition or once the weather forecast is better and I know I can capture those reflections. But yeah, around the tarn itself, there's loads of like beautiful trees. You can probably see in the background there, loads of trees that have kind of fallen into the tarn. Fair little bit of woodland as well. I think there'd be the opportunity for a bit of woodland photography if the right conditions are here as well. But yeah, in saying that, I am drenched, so I'm going to get myself home and get myself and all my gear dry. But thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this adventure, and like I mentioned earlier, if you'd like to book me for a one-to-one workshop, get over to the website and just get in touch. I'll happily get back to you. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I shall see you on the next adventure. Out.